Hello there, and welcome to my silly little crafty adventure. This week's video is a fun and funky one. We will be knitting socks. Now look, I am not a knitter, but I'm gonna knit socks if it's the last thing I do. I want to learn to knit cute ones with little designs. I love socks. I'm one of those freaks that wears socks to bed. So, you know, that's how much I love socks. They really help my thermoregulation, okay? So I need to make my own socks. I have been inspired by Lisa's Knitting Club. I will tag her in the caption. And that kind of got me thinking about it. And then I got some supplies for Christmas. My family did Christmas at Thanksgiving because of like family in town, but very exciting and thrilling, and join me for the ride. 5 whole rows, 5 whole rows, and no mistakes. Look at this adorable ribbing. Look at these tiny needles. I am having the time of my life. Love it. It's my first restart, yay. I just think I messed up already. This is gonna be really hard because I am very perfectionistic. But I don't know if I'm just gonna have to like get over that or what. I also decided to try and teach myself English style knitting at the same time as learning how to knit socks. And I was throwing, but it was hurting my hand, so now I'm trying to teach myself the flicking method. So here we are, cast on number 2. Hi, hello, long time no see. Here's the awkward part where I have to tell you that I finished the socks and didn't film anything. This is in fact because it was winter break and I was getting a little burnt out from doing all this stuff every week and trying to keep up with everything. So I was giving myself a break. But my hands somehow, miraculously, they found the needles and the yarn and they just went on their own and they just kept going. And now the socks are done. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you how they look. I'm gonna tell you how it went. And that's how we're gonna do this thing, okay? Okay, so what is happening right now is that I got home back to my apartment yesterday. I do in fact have a boards exam tomorrow and I'm losing my mind. But I did find time to use the beautiful new sock blockers that my fiance's family got me for birthday, Christmas. It's weird because my birthday is in beginning of January, but they are so fun and cool, and I think my fiance is the one who found them, and it's like the coolest design, and I haven't seen it. Like, I couldn't find ones that I liked, but he could, and oh, I can't even. So, before I continue going on, the point is, they're currently blocking. It's also my first time blocking anything. Lots of firsts in this project, so let's go look. Here we can see that currently I have the hat that I don't know if I blocked. I don't think that's what blocking is. I don't have any kind of mats yet. Call it Christmas next year. But I did in fact wash it with the socks just because I already had the detergent and the warm water mixed up. Here are my socks currently blocking. Don't come for me and say it's a plain yarn. I know, but you know what? It helped me see my mistakes easier and learn from them. But look how like profesh that is. Like, I'm sorry. I'm a humble person. I can admit when I do something really wrong or when it's not perfect, but I'm also a confident person, and these are really right. All right, so the plan is I'm going to leave them up there until the end of today, check them again. That'll be about like 24 hours. And then I will try them on, give you my final thoughts, my impressions, what I learned, what resources I used to make it. I had a really helpful tutorial that I followed. I will give you all the details, all the inside scoop. I'm really excited. I hope they dry quickly. That's all. I have to go study for my boards. All right, gang. If I'm looking a little rough, it's been a long day. I have my SPI board exam tomorrow. Any other stenographers, if you know, you know. And so I've been studying and cramming. I've been trying to take breaks every now and then because I know it's less effective if you don't do that. But that's besides the point. These are the point. Okay? I am going to take them off, the blockers. I'm going to put them on my little feet. Before they were blocked, I did in fact have to wrestle and break a sweat to get them on my foot. So I'm really, with all my might, hoping that they are just, you know, the perfect fit, you know? I've seen a lot of socks too. Oh, first of all, beautiful. Oh my gosh, blown away. I've seen a lot of knit socks that come out really slouchy. And while I may try that style at some point, that's not the goal of these socks. I want like a normal, like fitted sock. Here are the final results. They were still pretty hard to get on, honestly, even after blocking. The main area of trouble is the heel. I think that I did the heel flap way too tight. I think I needed to loosen my tension majorly. But that's a note for the future. And they are still wearable, and I do like that they're fitted, and they're really good fits in every other way. But I even when watching the tutorial video, I was like, wow, mine looks a lot tighter than hers. So I was like, So yeah, so that's for the future. So here are some of my little notes, some of my little summary items. There are a lot of different methods to making socks. There are a lot of different tools. It's very overwhelming. It was very intimidating to me. Ultimately, here's what I decided to do, and keep in mind, this is only my first pair of socks. I might find I like something different in the future. I might try different things in the future, but here's what I did for these socks. And honestly, I liked it pretty well, and I'll probably keep doing it this way for a while. So personally, the tutorial I followed was a cuff down versus a toe up, which means that I started at the ribbing and worked my way down. I did the heel, joined up for the foot, and then did the toe. I like that. That's fine. I haven't tried toe up, so I feel like I don't really have a preference, but a lot of people say only one way like makes sense to you, and cuff down made sense to me, especially with going on to the heel type I chose. I learned there are so many different types of heels for knitted socks. The tutorial I followed used the heel flap and gusset method, I believe is what you would say, which is very, I believe, like traditional. I liked it. I felt fancy. I understood it, and it came out good. And I did do some research outside of the tutorial that I used, which I will link in the bio. It was by Crazy Sock Lady. But I used some different like blog posts, stuff like that, to look at tips, because when you do the heel flap and gusset method, as you can see here, I'll show you. When you go to create the heel flap, which is this part, this down here is the heel turn, and then this is the gusset section to all create this kind of triangular heel. There can oftentimes be little holes here when you connect the gusset. So I did in fact use some outside resources for that. So I would just say kind of scour the internet for tips on whatever method you choose, because some things might include one tip, some things might include another, and you know, I kind of combined a lot and they turned out really good. So that was the heel method I used. I used a Kitchener stitch to close the toe. I think that's a thing. And a really big debate would be over what needle method you use to do your socks. So the three that I know of in general, and then there are like variations on each, are double pointed needles, magic loop, or tiny circulars. So double pointed needles would obviously be, as the name says, needles with 2 points. They come in a set of 5. You split your stitches onto 4 different needles and knit with the 5th. That sounded complicated and scary and pointy, so I didn't. Tiny circulars was the method I ended up using. I thought it would be pretty simple. I definitely want to get into color work with socks, and it sounded like the best for that, because it's a continuous loop all the way around on these really tiny needles. I believe the cord total length is 9 inches with the needles, and they're really tiny needles. So it's good for color work because it's all one continuous thing. I think that the downside for that for me was that it caused some hand pain over long periods of knitting, because obviously different than double pointed needles or even magic loop, the needle length is like a lot shorter, so you don't have anything to brace the back of your hand on. So that was the case. I did teach myself English style knitting, and I taught myself flicking instead of throwing, and that kind of resolved some of the pain. And as I went on in the sock, I didn't notice it as much. So that was a good thing. And I overall really liked using the tiny circulars. And I'll probably continue using that method. I did switch though to the magic loop method for the toes. And then it really helped to do it for the heels as well. And I left the front part of the sock on the tiny circulars, and I did all the heel stuff with my magic loop needles. So that was really good too. Slight variations on that are in kind of the spirit of double pointed needles. You can use 3 needles to split your stitches between. I've also seen people use 2 tiny circulars to split your stitches between. That's all kind of the same like genre. Another hot tip about magic loop, kind of a variation on that, is you can actually knit multiple socks at the same time, which is interesting. It would definitely help with second sock syndrome. I'm personally a little loony, so I didn't really experience in that because I was like so pumped to start the second sock, but then again, it was my first pair, so who knows. But yeah, that is kind of all of the general flyover of what I learned in making my first socks. I'm definitely excited to make some more. I'm just gonna save up some money for some nice yarn. I'll probably do a couple more vanilla socks before venturing into color work, so I really get all of the tension and fit right and understand the construction well. So yeah, that's my sock knitting journey. I hope you maybe got something out of this long ramble at the end. If you are a knitter or a crocheter, which I was and am, and this is one of my, this may actually be like my first knitting project other than this little cat toy that I made my cat, which was basically a square. So I would definitely say like it's never gonna learn itself. I dove right in. I did redo imperfections over and over again, and I think that's why they turned out well. But don't get discouraged if they don't. So yeah, that's my hot take of the day. Knit socks. And I hope you like this video, and I hope you give sock knitting a try, and if you do, let me know in the comments. I'll let you know next video how my SPI boards went, so you'll just have to subscribe. I don't know what to tell you.